Hello everybody, we're back. Guys, in the second class, we're going to be answering some questions in which you are going to, in which I'd like actually you to answer in the chat first, then we correct, okay? So please focus and let's try to answer together so we can build a discussion, okay? Felipe, can you pass, please? The first question, guys, is on the past perfect in which you have already studied, okay? The first questions, actually, there are some questions that require a past perfect knowledge in which we're going to review now, okay? I took this image from your book, from your material. Renata, tu pode... Okay, please. Okay. I took this image from your material. And what is important for us to bear in mind about past perfect is that we're talking about two actions that happened in the past. What does it mean? It means that they began and they finished in the past. But these two actions is one followed by another one, okay? So we're talking about two things that happened in the past, which means began and finished in the past, but one happened first and one happened second. So how are we going to establish what happened first and what happened next? Take a look. Past perfect simple. Well, past perfect is the past perfect is I'm going to make a translation here, okay? So the past perfect is used to express an action that happened in the past before another one that also happened in the past, okay? So as I said, both actions happened in the past. They began and they finished in the past, but one occurred first and one occurred second. So take a look at these two situations that happened. My brother cooked dinner. My brother cooked dinner is one. I arrived at home. I arrived home is the other one. Okay? So one happened at 6:30 p.m. or a 6:30 p.m. and the other one happened at 7:30 p.m. How are we going? We are not going to put the two verbs cooked dinner and arrived in the simple past. We're going to put one of them in the past participle. Which of the two are we going to the past participle for? Let's take a look. Notice that the two actions happened in the past, but one was before the other one. What happened first? What happened after? Take a look at the example. When I arrived home, my brother had already cooked dinner. So we are going to put the past participle form in the action that happened first. So the first action is my brother had already cooked dinner at 6:30 p.m. Okay? And then the sentence, the verb that comes in the simple past is I arrived home. I arrived home. So I arrived home after my brother had already cooked dinner. Okay? So the action that happened first will always be in the past perfect simple form. And the action that follows it becomes in the simple past. Okay? So now, please type it on the chat, the answers. I'm going to show you the questions, and you are going to tell me the answers, okay? I am going to wait for your answers so we can correct afterwards. Felipe, let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, the question is this one. Please, guys, I need your answers. Number one. Assinale a alternativa que preenche corretamente a lacuna da frase a seguir. We're going to complete the sentences. We're going to fill in the blank space with one of the options. Take a look. Past perfect simple. You are going to use the past perfect simple. He returned home after he blank space, the office. I need an answer from you. Would you complete with letter A, B, C, D, or E? Let me know. I'm taking a look at the chat, by the way, okay? Let me know with which of these 5 possible answers you would complete the sentence by using the past perfect simple, okay? An action happened first and the other one happened next. Okay, great guys, great. That's letter C, perfect job. Felipe, please. Okay, that's letter C, next. Now I want you, one more Felipe, only one more. Okay, now I want you to type it on the chat. What is the first action that happened in this sentence? What is the first action that happened in this sentence? Let me know. Type it on the chat, please. What is the first action that happened in this sentence? There are 2 actions, and one happens first, and the other one happens second. Which of the 2 happens first? Let me know. I am waiting, okay? I'll be waiting for you, for your answers. I need you to get ready to answer all my questions. Let's go. What happens first? A tip. Happens first what is in the past perfect. And the sentence itself says, okay, let the office. Had let the office. Perfect. So the first, Felipe, please. So he let the office. Perfect. And the second action, again. In the second action, he returned home. Perfect. Had let the office happens first in a timetable, okay guys? We're going to take a look at the time. What happened first? He had let the office, okay? He returned home after he let the office. Okay, Felipe, let's go to the second one. I need your answer. The second one is, complete the sentences with the appropriate verb form. Okay, we're going to take a look at the appropriate verb form. When earth, blank space, to be, the angels were in heaven, blank space. This is a very poetic sentence in which I'd like you to answer. When earth, blank space, to be, the angels were in heaven, blank space. We're going to take a look at what happens first and what happens after. And take a look at the options too, okay? Letter A, came, had ended. Letter B, comes, has ended. Letter C, had come, ended. Letter D, came, had been ending. Or letter E, comes, was ending. Some students are already typing their answers. Lucas, Guilherme, Davi, all of you are saying letter A. Felipe, let's take a look at what is the correct answer. It's letter A. Perfect job, guys. Okay, just a minute, Felipe. Now I'd like you to type it on the chat. What is the first action? Let me know, guys. What happens first? Let me see if you're attentive, if you're turned on, actually. What happens first? What happens first? When the fact that the earth came, or the ending of the war in heaven? What happened first? This is from Bible, I believe. Let's see. Okay, we know that. Letter A, perfect. But answer my question, please. What happened first? Let's see, Felipe. The war ended. The angels' war in heaven ended. Perfect. And the second one? We double type again. Okay, the earth came. So The angels' war in heaven ended, and then the earth came. That's the reason why we put had ended in the angels' war in heaven, because it happened first. Okay? Felipe, let's go. Let's see the third question. Indique a alternativa completa que completa a sentença. Okay. Now, again, we're going to be completing the blank spaces. We're going to be filling in to the blank spaces. The lady, blank space, that she, blank space, the pin number on the number of the button presses required to access her account balance would be the lady wrote, the lady writes, the lady was writing, the lady wrote, the lady wrote. And that she has modeled, would be modeling, has modeled, has been modeling, or had modeled. Okay, we've got an answer already from Lucas. He's saying that is letter E. Do you all agree with him? Do you all agree with him, guys? Letter E is a very good answer, by the way. Felipe, let's take a look. Yeah, that's letter E. Perfect. Perfect job. Letter E. And what happened first? What is the first action? Type it on the chat. What happened first? The fact that the lady wrote, or the fact that she has had modeled the pen number? Let's see if you got it right. Okay, Felipe, let's go. The lady modeled the pin number. This happened first, okay? And the second action is the pin number. Perfect, Guilherme. And the second action is the lady wrote. She wrote that she had modeled the pin number. Okay? Felipe, let's go to the fourth question, please. Question number 4. Again, Felipe. Okay. Now, the following questions, guys, are going to be on the relative pronouns. Okay? The relative pronouns, which are who, which, where, when, whose, whom, and that. We're going again to make another review on the relative. We have already done a review on the past perfect, and now we're going to be reviewing the relative pronouns. Starting by who, that means came. It refers to people, only to people. Okay? The boy who was talking to you is my friend. The boy who was talking to you, is that any boy? No, it isn't. It isn't any boy on the earth. It's the boy who I was talking about, who I was talking to. Okay? So I was talking to you about someone, and it's this person that I'm referring to. Okay, so who we use to refer to people only. Okay? Which, it refers to things, animals, and objects. Okay, so the book which is on the floor is yours. Is it any book? No, it isn't. It isn't any book. It's the book which is on the floor. There are some books in the world, but the book I am talking about is the one who's on, which is on the floor. Okay? Where, which means onde. It refers to places. And here, guys, I'd like to call your attention to something. We Brazilians, we have a tendency to replace onde to any situation. For example, I was in the hospital in these days, and I heard a doctor saying, a cirurgia onde eu fiz, surgery is something, is a thing. We would replace surgery to which, not where. So people have this tendency to replace onde, where, to all of these, to replace to all of these relative pronouns, when the correct one is replacing to a place. Okay, so the apartment where I live is great. The apartment where I live. The apartment is a place, and I'm talking about this specific place. The apartment where I live, okay? When, quando, it refers to timing. The day, that was the day when we met. The day is a period of time when we met, that day, okay? It refers to time. Whose, it indicates a possession of something. Take a look. Batman is the superhero whose power are less interesting. Okay, people are not obliged to agree with it, but okay. Batman is the superhero whose powers are these? They are Batman's. Batman's powers are the less interesting that this person thinks, okay? Don't begin a controversy. Whose powers are less interesting, okay? So whose indicates possession. These powers belong to Batman. Whom, a quem, it refers, whom is very formal, is very polite. So we use whom in a very specific situation, okay? So the boy whom you were talking to is my friend, okay? So people were talking about someone else, and the boy whom you were talking to is my friend. And the last one is that can replace which or who. We can use it for people and for things, okay? So the woman that lives here, I am replacing the woman by that. And the book that I bought last week, okay? So I'm replacing my book by that. That can replace both people and things. Let's go to the other one, please. Okay, and by using the relative pronouns, we build relative clauses, okay? Felipe, that there are the defining relative clauses. The man who came in the room is the boss. We're talking about the man, and this man, we're only going to get to know this man if we know these relative clause. And this relative clause is very important to the sentence. If we take this off, we would lose the meaning. So the man who came in the room is the boss. Would we know who man is this if we took who came in the room? No, we wouldn't. Okay, so that's the reason why it is a defining relative clause, because it needs in the sentence this relative clause for us to get to know who is the man we're talking about. And there is the non-defining relative clause, which are the clauses that give us extra pieces of information. Okay, Felipe, let's take a look at the example. The book, which includes a guide, gives you all the information you need to go to Greece. So if we took which includes a guide, if we took this off, the sentence would still be meaningful, okay? The sentence would make sense still. So if we want to give extra information, we use these relative clauses between two commas, okay? The book, comma, which includes a guide, comma, gives you all the information you need to go to Greece. Okay? Now, we're going to come back to the questions. Felipe, one more. Okay. We're going to come back to the questions, and I need you to answer them. To answer a question that provides you a text, we have to build some strategies. What are these strategies? There is a pre-reading strategy, the strategy that we do before reading, which is taking a look at the title. If there is a photo, we take a look at this photo too. So National Geographic News. Felipe, one more, please. And then we see a picture of a dog. Who doesn't love dog, right? So there's a picture of dog, and the title is Dog Genome Mapped Shows Similarities to Humans. We're seeing a dog, and we're seeing that its genome was mapped. And this mapped genome shows similarities to humans. We, humans and dogs, have something in common. Let's take a look at what is this. Researchers have finished mapping the genome of the domestic dog. The results show, among other things, that dogs, mice, and humans share a core set of DNA. Dogs, mice, and humans. Have you ever imagined sharing the same core of DNA with dogs and mice? That's kind of crazy for me. A rough sequencing of a poodle's genome was reported in 2003, but it covered only about 75% of the genes. So there was already a study on the genome of dogs, that it was a poodle's genome, and the poodle's genomes and the human's genomes, they have in common 75%. This time, we have sequenced 99% of the genome of a female boxer, said Kirsten Lindbato, a geneticist at the Broad Institute of Harvard University, author of the dog gene study, which appears tomorrow in the journal Nature. The researchers also examined DNA from 10 different dogs' breeds to spot generic differences between them. The comparison could help scientists find the genetic roots of the dog behavior and physiology, and, perhaps most importantly, help them identify genes that cause diseases in both dogs and humans. So we've got this text, and we've got the following questions, which are, question number 4. Em which appears tomorrow. O pronome relativo retoma o sentido de. This which appears tomorrow, refers to something that has already been mentioned. I need you to write down what answer would you put. Which, lembrem-se, remember, bear in mind, which refers to things, animals, or objects, okay? So which appears tomorrow is referring to a dog gene study, to a female boxer, to Kirsten Lindbato, to the Broad Institute of Harvard University, or to the lead author. Let me know. Type on the chat, please. What answer would you put here? Oh my God, time goes very fast. Let's go forward, Felipe. Please show the answer to the dog gene study again, please. What we have, yes, perfect, Lucas. We have this part. She is the lead author of the dog gene study, which appears tomorrow in the journal Nature. What is going to be appeared in the journal Nature? The dog gene study. Okay, so which refers to the study. Okay, Felipe again, please. Which refers to things, animals, and objects. Again, please. Let's go to number 5. Okay, here I brought, again, Felipe, please. Here I brought 2 strategies that teacher Alejandra has already mentioned with you. Skimming and scanning. These 2 strategies, they use rapid eye movement, okay? It's for us to gather the information that we want from the text. If we want a general meaning or a general idea from the text, we would use skimming, which is reading rapidly through the words so we can get what is the text talking about. And if we want a specific piece of information, we would use the scanning, which is going to, oh my God, I want a date, 1973, 1973 happened something, something, something. Okay, Felipe, let's go forward. And then we have this question here. I'm going to read the whole text for you, in which we're going to use one of the two strategies, okay? Professor Robert Park of the University of Maryland has launched an attack on the popular image of scientists as shown by movies and television. Scientists, he says, are generally portrayed as forgetful, short-sighted, and even crazy. The professor is right, of course, though there have been a few serious attempts to treat scientists with respect. The model for most movie scientists remains the screen version of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Brilliant man, of course, but so obsessed with making a monstrous Boris Karloff from spare body parts that he seems quite unconcerned by what his awful creation is likely to get up to. Frankenstein had even madder movies contemporaries. There was Dr. Moreau, whose specialty was genetics. His laboratory was an island of creatures that were half animal and half human. Or how about Dr. Alexander Thorkel as a role model? In Dr. Cyclops, he might be the world's greatest biologist, but his fondness for shrinking people to the size of chicken does not suggest a candidate for the Nobel Prize. So we've got this text on scientists, and this is based on the Professor Robert Park's opinion, which is the films, the movies, even the books, the literature, tend to portray the scientists as crazy people. He says they are generally portrayed as forgetful, they keep forgetting things, as short-sighted, which needs pair of glasses, and even crazy. Felipe, let's move forward. Let's take a look at number 5. I need your answers, okay? De acordo com o texto, Professor Park. Guys, in this question, we need to use scanning. We are going to look for Professor Park. Professor Park. This is the piece of information you want. Letter A is a Maryland scientist, short-sighted and very distracted. B, he thinks that every scientist is popular, distracted, and a bit crazy. C, he criticizes the image that scientists is shown by the cinema and TV. D, he had his own image shown on the cinema and television. And letter E, he is sure that scientists served as a model for Frankenstein. I can see that some of you are already typing the answers. Some of you typed A and some of you typed C. Felipe, let's see what is the correct answer. Letter C, guys. He criticizes the image that scientists has shown in the cinema and the TV. The strategy we should use here is the technique we should use here is scanning. We're willing to find a specific piece of information. Again, Felipe. Which is this one. Professor Robert Park of the University of Maryland has launched an attack on the popular image. He criticizes, actually. Let's go to number 6, which is about the same text, okay? According to the text, Frankenstein. Now we're talking about Frankenstein. Again, scanning. Look for Frankenstein. He wanted to show Boris Karloff as a brilliant man. B, he had in the cinema contemporaries even madder than he is. C, he worked in a laboratory located in an island. D, he tried to serve as a module to some scientists. Or E, he didn't show a huge respect for scientists in general. What do you think? Please attention, scanning. Look for a specific piece of information. You are going to look for Frankenstein. Some of you typed C. Let's wait for more answers. What do you think? Let's see, Felipe, the correct answer. Okay, that's letter B, guys. In the cinema, Frankenstein had even madder contemporaries. I don't know if you know the Frankenstein story. Frankenstein is a monster. He's called by, he's referred actually as a monster, as a thing, that his body is made of different parts of body by different people. So his arm belonged to one person, his left arm belonged to one person, his right arm belonged to another person. His head belonged to another person, while his chest belonged to another person. So a scientist made Frankenstein by different body parts from different people. And this is portrayed by a very crazy scientist. And one more, Felipe. And Frankenstein had even madder movie contemporaries. These characteristics, the characteristics from this book, they were considered very crazy, very mad. And at the time Frankenstein was launched, there were even madder movie contemporaries. Can you imagine having a person which was built up by some other part that belonged to different people? That's very crazy. One more, Felipe. Let's go to question number 7. In this one, we are going to take a look at these words: respect, quite, awful, and contemporaries. And we are going to establish them as a grammatical class. If it is a noun, an adjective, a verb, or an adverb. Felipe, I would like you to show the pieces of information. You can click. Go on. Respect. One more. Quite, awful, and contemporaries. One more. Okay. So respect could be either a noun or a verb. Okay. This is for you to take into considerations. Quite could be either an adjective or an adverb. Awful is only an adjective, and contemporary could be either a noun or an adjective. If you don't know what a noun is, in Portuguese it means substantivo, okay? So let's take at the sentence number 1. Attempts to treat scientists with respect. Is it a noun, an adjective, an adverb, or a verb? Number 2, spare body parts that he seems quite unconcerned. So, quite unconcerned, quite, could be either an adjective or an adverb. What do you think it is in this sentence? Number 3, by what his awful creation is likely to. So, awful here is an adjective, so there is only one possible answer. Frankenstein had even madder movie contemporaries. So, which of the 5 answers would you think is correct? Yasmin here has already answered, which is letter B. Let's see. Let's see if the other one. Okay, it's letter E. Okay, guys, let's take a look at respect. With respect, we would translate for com respeito. Okay, respect here is a noun. Okay, é substantivo. On number 2, spare body parts that he seems quite unconcerned. Seem is a verb. Quite unconcerned is the way that it seems, so it's qualifying the verb, which is an adverb, okay? Awful is only an adjective, it's the only possible answer. And contemporaries here is a noun, okay? On Frankenstein had even matter movie contemporaries. Let's move forward, Felipe, please. And I think that's the last one, guys. In the sentence, whose specialty was genetics, o pronome relativo whose refers to something that possesses another one. This possessed thing is specialty was genetics. Okay? So whose refers to Frankenstein, contemporaries, movie, Dr. Moreau, Boris, or Karloff. What do you think? A, B, C, D, or E? I'm waiting for your answers on the chat. Let's see if you gathered the information I shared. Guilherme typed, but he took his message off. Why? I'm waiting for you, everybody. Let's go. Let's wake up. I know that it's Friday morning. The weekend is almost here. You can see the weekend through the corner, but we're not there already. We're here trying to answer to some college university admission tests, okay? Which are very important. Guys, these questions require us a very specific skill, which is the grammar. We've got to know the grammar rules. And this lesson that your book brought is very specific for you to train your eyes whenever you see a question like these afterwards, when you have the opportunity to take a college admission test. People here are saying Dr. Moreau. Felipe, please. And you are right, guys. Congratulations. Woohoo. You are right, because speciality was genetics belongs to Dr. Moreau. The technique used in this question is scanning. You are going to look for whose specialty was genetics. Oh my God, I want this piece of information. I want to know more about this piece of information. I want to explore what the text says about this piece of information. And you use scanning. One more, Felipe. There was Dr. Moreau, whose specialty was genetics. So whose is referring to Dr. Moreau. I think it's done, right? I think it's the last one. One more, Felipe, please. Yeah, it's the last one. Can you give their cameras back to me? Guys, as I was saying, you have two types of admission tests to go to university. The first one is an A. An A is a type of test that requires you reading skills. You've got to read a lot to be prepared to do an A, to take an A, okay? So the questions from an A, they require you some reading skills, and these skills are improved actually by training, okay? You've got to train, and these two techniques I've just talked about, scamming and scanning, they are tremendously important for us to work with the text. Scamming, when we use scamming, we're looking for a general overview. And when we use scanning, we're looking for a specific piece of information. Both of them are reading skills, but we use them for different purposes. Okay? So it's very important for you to bear in mind that we have these possibilities to according to the type of question. If the question is, please tell me what is the text about, we're going to have a general overview. We're going to use skimming, which is reading rapidly. It's in a bit short of time. We're going to read the text very rapidly so we can do a skimming and get the general overview. To do a skimming, we've got to be prepared. And to be prepared, we've got to train. We've got to read. Okay? And if we're looking for a very specific, as this one, as, oh my God, I want to know whose specialty was genetics. We're using scanning. We're looking in the text a very specific piece of information. Okay? Guys, our time is getting over. I think that's it. Please don't forget to send me your meme and why is this meme funny. You are going to send to the email english@collegioantares.com.br. Okay? It was a pleasure to be here with you. We're going to see each other next Friday. TGIF, today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And I hope you all have enjoyed our time together today. Okay? See you guys. Bye-bye.